Hey everybody, Chrissy Tobis here for Kindred Stamps, and I'm going to show you how to make a card using the Little Town Life set. Now that card I just showed, I just kind of made a bonus card just because I like the set so much. I had so much fun with it. So I use the same technique that I'm using here to color in the image. So I use some colored pencils along with some blending solution or Gamsol and some paper stumps, I believe they're called. Then you can see I have that little thing off to the side. That's actually sandpaper. So when I get too much color on the paper stumps, I just sand it off. It's almost like a pencil sharpener for those. So I just sand it off and then I can change the color. So you can see I color in everything lightly. Then I use that solution to kind of blend, make that color a little bit softer. If you've ever colored with colored pencils before, you know that it may not be perfectly smooth. So this solution helps it smooth, and then it also makes it easier to come back in. You can use the same color or a darker color and add some shadows. And the nice thing is too that if you kind of made it a little too dark, you can add some of that solution and get it to lighten up just a little bit. So it makes highlights a little bit easier too. So like I said, I colored that in. I actually did two of them because I did one off camera where I made that other card as well. And I did honestly the exact same colors because I liked that kind of blue and gold combo. For the other card, I just made a window with acetate. It's not a shaker or anything. It's just multiple layers. And I also colored in that little princess off screen as well. But the main reason I'm doing this video is to show you how to create a fun background with these stamps. So I thought of snow for the other one, and that I kind of cheated on because I had some pre-made acetate, but this one I thought it might be fun to kind of make some clouds. So I had a die that was a cloud. Now if you don't have a die, you can certainly just cut one out by hand, and I cut it out, I die cut it with some Post-it notes. Now it kind of got unsticky, so I ended up just holding it with my hand. So if you have the option, try to use Post-it notes. If you don't, just a piece of lightweight paper would work, like a typing paper or anything like that. You don't want to go too thick because the cardstock, you end up not really getting as clean of an impression, an image, whatever you want to say, when you blend it off. So I'm just using a regular blending tool, and you can see like I kind of tap it in the ink, and then if needed, because sometimes I'm afraid I'm a little too heavy-handed when I use the ink, I have a scrap piece of paper off to the side there, and then that way I can just kind of test it and make sure that I have the right amount of ink on there as I'm doing it. So I'm going to go down pretty much the entire card and keep doing this. I kind of move the clouds just a little bit so it's not an exact pattern. Since clouds aren't exact, I think it's like no two clouds are alike, right? So I didn't want my clouds on my card to all look the same. So I started it kind of in different areas of the cloud on the edge, kind of moved them up, moved them down. I would think that if you could use this technique for a bunch of different backgrounds, whether you want to do mountains or grass or anything like that, rolling hills, you could do the exact same thing. And what I like about this is because, like I said, even if you don't have a die cut, you could definitely, I think all of us could probably draw puffy clouds on a piece of paper with a pencil and then kind of cut it out. So you could just do that. So I also left a little bit of white in there just to try to make it look a little more realistic. Really the focus of this card is those adorable images, but I love making my own backgrounds whenever I can. Whenever I don't have to use pen or paper, I like doing that. So then I went in when I was done putting all those clouds on there, and I just kind of added a little bit more ink where I felt it was necessary. So up at the top, definitely for the sky, and then just kind of in random areas throughout there where I felt it needed it. There were a couple spots where the white was still a little too harsh, so I just softened it a little bit with some of that ink. So now I'm using a stamping tool to add that sentiment on there, and it says, "Happy birthday, you magnificent beast." And I'm going to start assembling my card. I'm just using 3D foam squares. Now for this card, it's like a 3-layer card. So my card base, I have kind of like a mat, which is 4 by 5 1/4, and then that main panel right here that we just put the clouds on, that's 3 3/4 by 5. And I put foam squares on all of those panels. So if you do something like this and you mail it, you may have to throw some extra postage on there, so just keep that in mind, but I'm going to hand this one out in person. And then I put 3D foam squares onto the little images as well. And then to finish it off, I am just using some sequins from Kindred Stamps. And I love these little shaker packs because they have all different shapes and stuff in there too. They're not just a circular sequins. There's all different kinds of fun things. They're great for shaker cards, but I also love using the sequins as extra embellishments as well. So to put these on, most of the time I use glue, but this time I decided I had some little mini adhesives. It's like for bling, and so I used it for my sequins. So I'm going to give you a shot again of that second card I made, just so you can kind of see a few of the other images that are included in that stamp set. Again, it's called Little Town Life. Thanks so much for stopping by today.